So what do you think? Think we got a good match of plants on our wall planter over here? I don't know, we'll see. The nice thing about planters is if you don't like something, you can move plants around, put them in different places, and change your scheme up just a little bit. Well, anyway, good morning, magandang umaga, and welcome to today's episode of My PI Dream. Today is Friday, and I have some interesting stuff for you guys today. I think you're going to enjoy today's episode. We have some visitors coming in. We have some other vloggers that are doing vlogging here in the Philippines. Used to live in the U.S., now residing here in the Philippines. Built the house. I don't want to get too much into it because we are going to do one of those kind of like sit-down interviews like we used to do way back when we used to have subscribers that used to come and visit us. So that's one thing on the agenda today. This morning, before they arrive, I'm going to try to take you through a quick, I'm getting messages on board that are asking me, you keep promising things about talking about networking and interesting questions and answers. I'm going to try to knock a couple of those out. I am so preoccupied with some other projects that are going on. I keep missing all of these deadlines to explain those things. Well, let's go ahead and get today started. I think our guests are coming a little bit earlier than I expected, so I will try to do a little bit of information about the networking. Maybe questions and answers will be part of today's episode with our interview with our guests. I'm not really sure. We'll see how it rolls. Anyway, so let's get today started. So without further delay, let's get today's video underway. Alright, well, I decided to come up here on the lanai outside the master bedroom, and it's nice and quiet up here. It's a good place to go ahead and do our topic of discussion this morning before our guests arrive. I think they're coming about a half hour earlier than we had planned. Maybe they got into Lipa early, and they're just ready to get out and about and start doing some visiting. And that's great. We're excited to have those guys come over to visit. Now, today I think is going to be like a day of insight. I hope it's a day of insight. I hope it doesn't lead to more questions. The answers don't lead to more questions, but if they do, we'll try to address them in an upcoming episode as well. Now today, again, I wanted to get back into discussion of a little bit about the network. People keep asking the question, how did you design your network? What does it look like? Give some examples and things like that. So that's what we're going to do this morning. We're going to talk a little bit about try to knock this out before our guests arrive. I have the other cameras downstairs charging so that when they do come, we can do our interview with our guests today as well. Now, when it comes to, I got a little piece of paper here, and we'll sit down and maybe we can do a little bit of drawing as well. And we'll go ahead and we'll visit the specific areas. But when you design your network inside your house, something that you got to take into consideration, how many devices am I going to put inside my house? Where are those devices going to be located? How do I want to connect those devices? And how do all those devices that are all connected up on our network, how do they make it to our device that's going to get us out of our house onto the internet, which is normally going to be like a fiber modem or a cable modem or back in the day DSL modem. I don't even know if they do stuff like that anymore. Maybe they do. But the fastest that you have today is a fiber modem. It'll give you the fastest incoming and outgoing data rates for you to do things like streaming, which is really important today. So that's what we're going to talk about a little bit right now. Now, when you are designing your network, something you want to think about, like I said, the first thing I said is devices. How many devices and what type of devices am I going to put inside my network? If you have a TV, a smart TV, remember a smart TV can be hooked up directly either by hardwire, Cat 5, Cat 6, Cat 7, Cat 8. It can be hooked up, and when I say these categories of wire, when you say Cat 5, and there's multiple versions inside, Cat 5, Cat 5e, Cat 6, they're different versions of wire that you can put, but they all look the same. They all have 8 wires that hang off onto a little connector, onto an RJ45 type of a connector on the end. They're all the same. Inside a house, you could get away with Cat 5 easily. Cat 5, especially Cat 5e. Cat 6, might as well, doesn't cost that much more. Cat 6. And the difference between the Cat 5 to Cat 6 and all the newer technology that they have has to do with the way they do the twists of the wires inside there. The more twists of the wire inside there that they have, the less chance you have for interference, crosstalk, things like that. If you're connecting close to like an electrical box or something like that. So my recommendation is when you wire your house, start out as a minimum with Cat 6 wire inside your house. It's very easy to find. It's the common standard today, but there are newer technologies. But most of the newer technologies that they have, the Cat 7 and the Cat 8, these wires are mainly used for really long runs, like in commercial buildings and stuff like that. But in a normal house, Cat 6 is just fine. So let's talk about connecting up these Cat 6 devices to your devices. You're going to have a smart TV, or you're going to have something like a device that hooks up to your smart TV, like an Apple TV, or what do we have? It's the Amazon, or the Fire Stick, the Fire Stick. Now, all of these devices, the Apple TV, the Fire Stick, which these are streaming devices. Your TV is a streaming device these days. Almost all of them, especially the leader, I think, out there is Samsung. They can either use Ethernet cable. When I'm saying Ethernet, I'm talking about that Cat 5, Cat 6, Cat 7 type of cable. Or they can pick up on wireless, Wi-Fi. Now, my recommendation when you build your house, when you design your house, every place you plan on putting these, my recommendation is to put a hardwire Ethernet connection that will go to that the device. So what you should do, you should put a connector behind that will be hidden right behind the device, and it's going to be your it's like your Cat 6 connector. It's going to be like a RJ45 jack that goes inside the wall, and I'll show you one. We have one right here on our back porch, on our lanai. Now, those are the type of junction boxes you should put behind each one of your devices. Why do I have one out on the lanai? It's got a cover. It's sort of like semi-waterproof. You shouldn't have any problem with that type of device with water getting inside and shorting out your circuit. But the reason we have that here, which goes into another topic, if you have the need in a location, and say like you are a teacher, maybe you're a teacher and you do online teaching, and there's a requirement that your computer that you have has a hardwired connection, and some companies do that. In the contract they'll say you cannot do things over wireless, because even in today when wireless is just as good as hardwired Ethernet, because if your network goes down, let me put it like this, if your modem were to go down, if your connection to the internet, your internet provider shuts down, it doesn't matter whether you're on Cat 5, Cat 6, or Ethernet, or Wi-Fi, you've lost your connection. But some companies, they're still old school, and they still firmly believe that the hardwire is a more reliable connection inside your home network. Be that as it may, the reason we put these in is so that in the event Ness, because she does things online, she has customers, she has clients that require hardwire. So we put those in strategic locations through the house, and I will show you that as we go through the house. Places like if she wants to do business from right here, teach a class. Say to a corporate organization, and she wants to teach from right here on the back porch, she can do that, and she can fill the requirement of having the hardwire connectivity that the company requires. Okay, enough on that right there. So we talked about every device. So if you have a TV, you have a TV in every bedroom, you have a TV inside your living room, your family room, you have a home theater setup or something like that. Now, everywhere where you have those devices, that's where you want to put a RJ45 connector box inside there, your hardwire Ethernet connection, so that you can have a little piece of wire that goes from your smart device and just plug right into that. Now, by making accessibility from your smart device to your network through those boxes, you have a better chance on having problems like with buffering. Like sometimes if you have Wi-Fi and the Wi-Fi gets full, you have a lot of devices connecting up to the network and they're sharing that. Going to your router or your modem, it will slow down your streaming. So if you have the hardwire, which is a direct connection directly from your device to your modem or your router, it's much better. You have much more data throughput, both incoming and outgoing. I'm going to sit here. I have my little blank piece of paper, and let's go ahead and take a look at how we design this network here. So what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to make a little rectangle. We're going to pretend this is Villa Feliz here, and we have a room. We have like a bedroom back here. We have a bathroom. We have another bath or bedroom over here. We have a dining room over here. We have the patio. This is the sunroom inside here, and we have the great room right here, and then we have the kitchen. The kitchen over here. I guess this shares a wall here. Something like this. I don't know. Let's see. Something like this. All right. All right. So anyway, in our kitchen is this area right here with the kitchen sink, and so well, you kind of get the picture. And we have our little island right here. So we need access to different places. So Ness wants to be able to teach or work with her clients in the kitchen. So underneath the island, right about here, I have a RJ45 connection, Cat 6. Before we say about all the places, let's talk about this little area right here. We're going to call this. Oh, let's go ahead and do the. And we got the laundry room over here. Laundry room. Okay. Over in this area right here, this is like a cabinet, and this is the control center of the entire house. Let's start from here. This is the control center, and then we have our modem right here. Okay, this is our fiber modem that comes in from PLDT. PLDT is out here at the street on a pole. PLDT comes into the house, right? Into the house. It goes into the back of this control box right here. And then inside this control box right here, I can access everything. This is where we're going to be able to do all of our patching, any of our type of troubleshooting. If we need to do anything, we have one place that we can do everything, and that's going to be right here. And we'll talk a lot about this area right here in a bit. But what happens, remember I said PLDT is out here, comes into the house, routes through the house to here, and then ends up right here on the wall near the kitchen. Okay, this is where our modem, our cable modem is. Now, our cable modem also does Wi-Fi. It has both a router built into it, and it has wireless. Cable modem we'll just make a little box that looks like this right here. It looks like a router, and it has antennas, maybe 4 quad antennas on the back. And on the back of it, it has some connections. And what you'll say is maybe you have, let's see, one of the connections is going to be fiber. It's that little piece of glass that comes from PLDT, ends up inside your cable modem. Then inside your cable modem, built into your cable modem, is a router. And it has, these are not fiber. Each one of these connections in here, and it depends on the manufacturer of your modem, how many of these you have. Normally they have about 4. And these are going to be RJ45 connections. This is your Ethernet connections that you can send out to other devices inside your house, anywhere around your house. So what we're going to, and it has wireless. You see, these are antennas, and these are going to give you like 2.4 gigahertz or 5 gigahertz connectivity throughout your house. These are just different frequencies, and we're not going to get into networking 101 today, but just to let you know, that's what this does. So now, this modem, which is sitting right here in the center of the house, that's very important. When you decide where you're going to put your cable modem that has Wi-Fi, you want to have the best place that gives you the best reach to all parts of your house, everywhere. So normally, if you have 3 stories, on the second story in the middle of the second story, Depending on how much concrete you have all the way around, that's usually about the best place that you can put. So it will go vertical up to your next floor above it. It will go down, vertical down to your floor below it, and it will give an equal amount of dispersion of your signal all around your house. So that's what we're talking about, placement. That's normally how you do it. Now, if you are a network technician and you're coming in to decide, you can do a site survey inside the house. You can set up a router or a modem, a wireless modem in a certain place, and you can walk around the house and you can see the signal strength. That's normally the best way to do it when you're setting up your initial configuration for your house. Okay, so we have our connection from PLDT. It's making it to this device here that's sitting here in the center of our house, our fiber modem. Then what you're going to want to take one of these Ethernet connections right here, one of these RJ45 connected to Ethernet cable, your Cat6 cable, and you want to get it into a central point that you can split it out to the rest of your house. Now, if this area is such that you have a cabinet here, this is probably the prime location to put it. But we don't have a big cabinet right here. So we made something very close. We made a cabinet, an enclosed cabinet over here. But we took a signal out off of one of these connectors, and we ran it over to this area right here. Inside this area, which is what I call the control center, we have a breakout patch panel. And a patch panel is going to look something like this right here. All right. And it's going to have a bunch of RJ45 connections. You might have 8, you might have 12, you might have 24. You can buy any type of configuration. And what this does on the back side of each one of these connectors, the back side of each one of these connectors are going to go to different places in your house. So you'll say this one, you'll route your rough-in, basically, your rough-in, and this will go to your TV in your living room. A connection from the back of this patch panel will go to your bedroom television. The back one will go to, you get the point. They will go to different devices all through your house that require Ethernet for you to have network connectivity. And we'll show you, we'll go downstairs and we'll take a look at that in just a minute. Now remember, these little wires on the back side of this patch panel right here. In the front, it's just a big hole open that you would plug in your Cat 5, Cat 6 cable, your Ethernet cable. Now each one of these, this is only a path. There's nothing active about this. Remember, this is just a connection from here to your device inside your house. Now from here, you have to get it over to your modem over here. And how do I do that? How do I get all these connections? Say I have 8 connections here, but remember we said on the back of our modem, we only have 4 connections right here. Well, we're only going to use one of these connections inside, because we're going to take all of these and we're going to route every one of these, we're going to connect them up to a switch. And a switch can have 4, 8, 12, 24, 36 connections on it. Then what this is going to do, this is going to be like a combiner. This is actually a switching mechanism that will take every one of your devices throughout your entire house, and it will make it come out on one connection. This is like your trunk, and this is the trunk that's going to go from here, and it's going to go to one of those connections on the back of your router. Now I know this all seems very confusing. It seems extremely confusing, I bet, to some of you. Let's go downstairs and take a look at how it is, and I think it will clarify. I'll show you the path that will clarify how this whole network is connected. All right, now when you are designing and giving your plan to your builder for your house, what you have to do is you have to find the location that you want your fiber modem or your cable modem, where you want it to reside. This is the one. This is the center of the house right here. You see we have the kitchen here, we have the great room here, and this is the center. We have a floor above and we have a floor below. So this is where we decided that we wanted to put the cable modem to give us the greatest dispersion of our Wi-Fi signal around the house. Now you don't see the antennas on here because the antennas are actually built inside this fiber modem. But this fiber modem, like I said, it is both a modem, which basically modulates, demodulates the signal that comes in from PLDT or your utility or your internet provider. and it converts it over into a digital signal inside your house to be able to use inside your house. But it also has, you can see, this is Wi-Fi. It shows that we have Wi-Fi inside here, and we have Ethernet. I think it's this connection right here. It shows our Ethernet. Also, the modems also provide your telephone service, which shows our little telephone, which is on, which is green, which is good. Green is always good. Red is usually bad. Okay, so when you are building your house, what you need to do, you need to tell your contractor, your builder, to provide a path from the street through your house to this point right here. Who will put conduit inside, and you will have to get your contractor to run fiber optic cable from that position. He could clip it off out there because your internet provider, the company that comes in, the technicians, will re-terminate it at the end and connect it to their servicing area at their company. But your contractor is going to have to get you from the pole to the point that you need this. So make sure there's like a few feet, like half a meter or something like that, of extra cable at both ends so they can terminate it. In case they make a mistake, they can re-terminate it again. Okay, so this is our access point right here. This has both wireless and it has wired. Remember this on the back side, it has multiple ports for Ethernet. So we've gotten our internet into our house. The internet is here. Then we need to get it to the rest of the house. One way is by the wireless, which right now it's going through wireless. On the back, on those 4 ports that we have on the back, one of the ports has a Cat6 cable. One Cat6 cable, and I'll show you where it ends up. Okay, now let's go over to our patch panel. Remember, we need connectivity from here over that Ethernet cable. We need it to go to all the devices inside the house. And how do I take one connection and connect it to all the other parts of the house? Well, this is how I do it. I have a patch panel inside here, and I have my little handy dandy, this is how I, it's my map that tells me what everything is hooked up to. So anyway, this is the patch panel. So let's go in the opposite direction, all right, from the opposite direction. Oh, or we can go from this one. So I can see on my little list here, number 2, PLDT fiber modem. So on the patch panel, this cable right here, on the back side of this patch panel right here, it's what is connected to the back side of the fiber modem that we just visited. So this is my point of entry right here, this one device, but I got all these other wires inside here. I need to take this one cable and make it reach out to all of these other devices, because on the back side of all these other cables on the back of this patch panel are all of our devices, all of our TVs, all of our smart devices. So what I'm doing is I'm taking this one and I'm splitting it out. I'm going into a smart switch. And that's what this is right here. This is a Netgear ProSafe smart switch. And what this switch does, it takes one signal. This is the trunk coming in from PLDT, and it's distributing out on all these other connections, going back through the patch panel, and on the back side here goes to all of those devices inside my house. So what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to get your contractor to take all your areas that you have around your house, such as, let's take a look and see what we have. So to clarify here, what we've done is we'll go into the sunroom. In the sunroom, we have a connection right here, okay? That's an RJ45 connection that ends up on the back of that patch panel. On the kitchen island, we have, where is it? Oh, right here. You can see this one right here. This goes to the back of that patch panel. Downstairs inside the basement by the projector, we have a connection that goes to the patch panel. Upstairs, in the bedroom, behind the television, we have a connection. Behind this television right here, we have, well, it's not behind the television, it is actually here. You see this connection right here. This is a Cat6 RJ45 connection as well. So you get the point. And the point being, anywhere inside your house that you have a smart device that has the ability to connect up to Ethernet, Cat6, Cat5, whatever type of wire that you have going through the wall via that little RJ45 connector on the end of your wire, you want to be able to have access. That needs to be routed over to your patch panel. And what does the patch panel do for me? The patch panel is great if you have to do troubleshooting when you are trying to isolate a problem. It's also really great if your contractor comes in and does what my contractor did. Well, my electrician, when he first started hooking everything up, he started daisy chaining the Cat 6 cables, and you can't do that. You can't daisy chain networking like you do electrical, and that's what he did. And by using that to validate the network, I found the problem. I found that he did that. Then we had to install even more Cat 6 because he was just connecting them all together. You couldn't do that. It also gives you the ability, if you have a central point like that, to be able to add devices. If you want to expand your network, if you want to put a bigger switch inside there, make all your connections inside, that's where your central point of everything is done in one area. Now make sure when you have a control panel or someplace that's out of the way, make sure that your electrician provides you with plenty of outlets inside there. We also have an UPS inside there. And UPS provides uninterrupted power supply in the event that we have a brownout. It will keep the CCTV up, the NVR, the network video recorder, and our entire network throughout our house. It will keep it up even during a brownout. Well, that's about it for now. I think you have the gist of how we have the network set up here. Basically, you have a source that comes in. You have a device like the fiber modem that gives your internet access to your house. You take it and you distribute it out via a network patch panel to other parts of your house. It's as simple as that. The only thing we didn't really talk about today, which we talked about in previous episodes, is that we also have VPN clients in the form of routers here. We have one on the first floor and we have one down inside the basement. And what does that do for us? Like we said before, it gives us the ability to have a VPN, a secure tunnel connection to resources out of the Philippines, and that's what that does for us. We have one in the living room, we have one in the basement. So that gives you additional, it's a little bit more of an additional complexity, but it also gives you a little bit more of additional capability inside your house. I hope it wasn't too long, this explanation wasn't too long, and I could have probably been a little bit more detailed in some other areas, but we're within minutes, I think, of our guests arriving here, so I wanted to make sure I got that done today, and I can put that on the back burner right now. So let's go ahead and let me go ahead and get the battery charged up, stick this back on the charger, and be prepared for when we have our guests arrive anytime now. Well, anyway, I was just reviewing some of the video that we shot today with our guests coming over, and what I realized that we have a lot of content. We discussed a lot of things that I think you might find interesting. If you're planning on retiring to the Philippines, we talked about, well, I'm not going to tell you what we talked about because that would be a spoiler alert, and I don't want to do that right now. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to close this as part one. We will close this down, the part that we talked a little bit about networking around the house this morning, because we have so much content in there, I don't want it to run too long. Then we will do a part two, which will include our guests that came over today, which you'll find that there's some other really great information that you might find in that part of the episode as well. So for this part of the episode, time to close. If you enjoyed this part of the episode, please give me a thumbs up. Please share. And if you have not subscribed, just click on that little My PI Dream. And the bottom right hand side of the screen, you'll be subscribed and notified the next time we upload a new video, which is going to be right after this one. So until that time, you have a wonderful and blessed day. If you enjoyed today's episode and you would like to see more just like these, just click on one of the helpful links over to your right and you might be able to pick up on some good information on DIY projects, how to, or if you are interested in moving to the Philippines and building, you'll find answers there as well.